technical dramas with this phone today. I don't know why, but it just keeps turning off on me, stops recording. And I'm missing out on 10 minutes of verbal explanations. So it's a little bit frustrating. But I believe it cut out right after I was talking about Moose not pushing himself, taking it easy. He's on easy street as far as exercise is concerned, but he's got the talent to really go up another few levels. And then I went on to sort of compare him to Hope. You look at Hope and she gives 100% effort all the time, no matter what. She's very, very intense. And you see how quickly she moves. She's got that real fast reaction time and that real twitchy, powerful stride that just gets her moving in any direction, you know, top speed. Whereas Moosey Boy just likes to get a nice big long stride on and not push himself too much. He covers a lot of ground, don't get me wrong, like he's quick, but he could be so much faster. A good example of you know, you got a smaller boxer like Hope, but then you've got this really big, tall boxer like Moose, and if he used his ability to the max, he would end up being as impressive as Bandit was. You know, Bandit was that big, tall, strong boxer that used to give it every ounce of energy and effort that he had, and that's why he just dominated everything. Look at him, lying down in the grass. That's his morning exercise right there. Even his back rolls are lazy. Look at him. I really wanted to scratch my back, but I rolled over. I don't know what to do about it now. Moosey Boy, we love you, mate. These are just observations, mate, not criticisms. Yeah. Oh, you are who you are, aren't you, mate, huh? Yeah. You don't have to work hard, you're still just as fast as everyone. Oh. Good boy, bud. So it feels like it's going to warm up today. These are usually the most uncomfortable days as far as weather's concerned. Lots of rain the last couple of days, and then a hot day today, and it's just so sticky and it's not even summer yet. We've still got another month of spring, and it's only going to get hotter. I remember as a kid, I used to love summer. Just the intense heat. You know, you could leave the house in the morning in a pair of shorts and a singlet and know that you would not be cold at all, even if you stayed out all night. It was just that reassurance of always going to be warm. But now, I've got to say, I do like the spring and autumn seasons a little bit more than the summer. Sorry, darling. Startled her as I walked past while she was rolling around. Oh yeah. Ooh, good girl. But it is pool season. Had a few little hiccups with the big pool. I've been out there welding the legs on, and welding the modified legs, just giving them the support. So I'm not sure how much I've spoken about. I know I've spoken about the fact that they were collapsing, but the reason they're collapsing, because all the legs are collapsing in those spots, is from all the dogs jumping out over the edge of the pool, and in particular dogs like Roscoe jumping onto the railing and climbing over and then running around. So what's that doing? It's putting a lot of excess pressure on those posts right under that, and also throwing out all the salt, magnesium, water onto the base of the posts that are starting to crumble. So then we start to get rust in there, which weakens it and continues to happen and only compounds the problem. So I've cut off all the bottom of the feet that were all rusted out, and then welded on some new feet, realigned it all. So it's back up and running now, and back to being as strong as it's probably ever been. But I've had a few dramas with the pump equipment. It's really catching me unawares, and I've had the pool guys come out a couple of times and look at it, but it just seems like these chlorinators for these mineral pools, they just burn out really quickly. They're only lasting about 12 months, when usually you'd get a couple of years out of them. But there is a huge organic load in these pools, with all the leaves and trees around it that drop all the leaves into the pool. So I suppose they're working a bit harder than most pools, but just got to get it nice and hygienically clean for these guys to swim in. I was pretty much there, but then when I welded the last few legs on, I looked at it and it looked like it was turning, so gave it a little bit of help. Hopefully today it's good to go. Alright, let's go again. Look at this dog. Oh, aren't you amazing? Aren't you amazing? Yeah. Hi. Hi. Oh. Hi. Oh yeah, you want some too? Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah. Ooh. To me, Miss Violet is just the epitome of happiness. She is never down in the dumps. She's always just like she's looking on the bright side of life, giving it her all no matter what it is. If there's nothing going on, she's making her own fun. One of my favourite positions to see her in is when she's rolling around in the clover, upside down, and then just random impulsive chews on a stick as it just hangs there while she's halfway between sleep and play. You know, she sort of drifts in and out and will chew on the stick a few times and then just stop there, mouth open, and just lay on her back. It's like the most carefree, relaxed you could possibly get. You know, I look at it with, you know, such envy. Like, I wish I could just do that. That looks so enjoyable. You can't help but bring a smile to your face when you see it. Where'd she go? There she is. Oh, Lily girl. Ooh, Lily. Ooh, she won't let anyone else do it, will she? Oh, yeah, you take it. Hello. Banjo. But even stuff like that, like, she is unfazed. Banjo's telling her off. Who knows? Maybe Banjo just woke up on the wrong side of the bed and sees this pure joy, says, take your joy away from me. And she just doesn't care in the slightest. Doesn't care in the slightest. It's that attitude of, I'm only happy. There's nothing that can make me unhappy. And that's why all the older dogs like Lily, Tilly, Freddo, they all crack it with those dogs and say, leave me alone. But they just never get the point of, I don't want you licking my face repeatedly. They're just constant lick, 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 lick. I love you, I love you, I love you. And nothing changes that mindset in them. What an amazing mindset to have. It's a really like I said before, I'm very envious of that mindset. It's easy for life's complexities and, you know, complications and speed bumps and hurdles to get in the way of that kind of attitude. And, you know, sometimes I find myself randomly just being down and not really knowing why. And then I go through all the things, you know, that are going right for me in my life, or that I'm grateful for and that I love. And there's so many things. But then for some reason, I can't shake this feeling. It's almost like I look at how blessed I am, and, you know, I'm able to live this amazing life with these amazing dogs, you know, a family that is, you know, couldn't be more perfect and what I want in a family, you know. We're crazy and all over the place, but I love it. And I got so many things to be thankful for, so it's almost like I don't have a right to be feeling down. You know, I shouldn't be feeling like that sometimes, which is a hard pill to swallow in itself. And really, I've gone through the last 40 years of my life never really acknowledging or reflecting on or working out my internal emotions and feelings, and only really just started diving into myself about 12 months ago when I was diagnosed with ADHD. You know, obviously I've got a few other things going on, but even with going to see psychologists and stuff, you know, when you come back from war zones and all the rest of it, yeah, when you're in that mindset, it doesn't affect you. You know, you brush it off. That's what you've been built up to do, is not let things affect you. But I look back on it now, and really it was my ADHD and my ability or my inability to maintain one train of thought for any extended duration of time. And so if I had any sort of feeling or emotion that I didn't understand, I would work at it for 45 seconds and then lose concentration and drift off and shrug it off and move on, and you know, I just tell myself I was okay. But since being on the medication, it's the first time in my life I've ever been able to sit there and think about one feeling and emotion for the entire day and work out what caused it, why I'm feeling that way, how to fix it, and you know, what steps to take to go and fix it. To me, this is like, you know, a revelation. It's just, oh my goodness, this is so effective. You know, you're able to actually accomplish, in my opinion, complex tasks like this, but for everyone else, this is a normal ability, but I've never had that ability. The other side of it, and this is the part where I'm really finding that it's a chore, and it's so draining emotionally, and I don't know, you have to, in my limited experience, but in this past year I've really been trying to dive into it, you've got to open the box and try to work through it before you can heal. And opening the box sucks. It's just so, like I said, draining and painful, and like you're reliving things that either hurt you or hurt someone else, or, you know, oh my goodness. How do you normal people put up with this? Life was so blissfully ignorant before. Anyway, I'm only newly entering this, but finding my way. We still rolling? Tell you what, if that camera cut out, I wasn't revisiting this conversation. So, I did get distracted there, but what I was going to say was the worst part about it, and the most draining part, and like, it's just, to me, it's like, this is just unnecessary. Why am I putting myself through this? It's like my subconscious mind is putting my conscious mind through it. For some reason, since being on the medication, my brain randomly puts in the forefront of my mind interactions that I've had throughout my entire life that have either hurt me or hurt someone else. Not significantly, just might have been awkward or embarrassing or, you know, inappropriate or something like that. Just general interactions through conversation, and then all of a sudden, in my mind, I was talking about something that was unrelated, but when the memory gets put back in my mind, I see it from the other person's perspective, and I can see where they have misunderstood what I was trying to say, and they've taken it another way, which was, you know, highly offensive and hurtful to them, and I've never understood their reaction at the time. And then these memories get put into my head, and then all of a sudden I understand their reaction and I can see it perfectly. But at the time I was like, that was a weird response. Why did they react that way. And so these things pop into my head regularly, because obviously being so unconscious of it all and not being able to work through anything or decode anything my entire life, there's been many of these moments. So it takes its toll on your, brain power, and like, it's just a weird feeling at the end of the day. You've just felt so many emotions that you're just so exhausted, but physically, you're not exhausted. You haven't done anything. You've just done a normal day. Why am I so zapped? And I told Sam about this, and she's like, yeah, that's what us normal people do all the time. Welcome to the club, Luke. Yeah. So the point, I suppose, that I'm trying to make here, and I'm going a very long-winded way about it, and just kind of sharing my experience with you guys so you have a better idea of where I'm coming from, is I'm very late in life to discover that you have to work on yourself before you can work on anything else. And I'm finding that working on myself is the most difficult, because you are, there's no sugarcoating anything. There's no saying it in a way that, won't hurt my feelings. You're brutally honest with your, deepest thoughts and reactions, but you're holding yourself accountable and really putting the pressure on and trying to find out why. Why? Ask yourself, why did I do that? What's going on? These are very tough questions if you're going to answer yourself honestly. You can lie to yourself and just pretend and whatever, but I suppose that's what, I didn't even go that far. I never even really asked myself those questions before 12 months ago, but I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like if I was a racehorse and I had my blinkers on, and then all of a sudden someone just takes them off. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much more world around me that I never knew was there. It's the best way I can explain it, I think. Well, this was supposed to be a morning exercise walk with the dogs, and it's turned into therapy with Luke. Either way, however anyone takes this, whether you think it was boring or whatever, I don't really care, so long as it strikes in the right place with someone. It doesn't matter if everyone else had to endure it, so long as one person out there hears it and it hits home and something sparks in their mind, they get that idea or mindset to start to either do things differently or make change or get started on something like that. Because I always thought that, you know, mentally I was very tough and nothing could penetrate my armor. And as far as, you know, being a special forces operator trained to go into very, very dangerous gunfights, I was excellent at that. But that's only one part of me. That's only one side of me. But then once opening the door to my inner self that I'd locked away from a young child, and then hearing that voice talk to me about all the things that didn't sit well with me, hurt me, made me cringe, maybe I felt embarrassed about, every single thing in my life I've revisited, or I revisit as they pop up and try to work through them. Even to the point where I've randomly called mates from my military service and just touched base and apologised for a comment, or gave an explanation for something that someone might have taken offence to, and, you know, no offence intended, and just tried to make right some of these misunderstandings in my life. But it's more so just about that personal journey. It's more so for me just about becoming the best version of me, because you know, the better and more stable and more in touch and, you know, emotionally open I am, then the better I'm able to handle, you know, family life, the dogs and their, you know, behavioural issues and pack dynamics, and understanding where they're coming from and being accurate in, you know, my interactions with them. You know, it's a difficult thing to get right all the time. There's been a few times where I've misinterpreted something, and then the behaviour has happened again, and I've noticed different things the second time, and I get it now. You know, but as I become a little bit more in touch with my inner self, I'm able to more accurately translate what's going on with the dogs, and also, you know, the kids, Sam, everyone. So if this, you know, is something that anyone out there can relate to, the only way through it is head on, and, you know, listen to that internal voice, deal with how that makes you feel, work it out so that you're either saying to yourself, well, I'm not going to let that happen again, or I feel a certain way about it, my position is now changed, and, you know, you can put it to bed and take it off your list of things that you're holding on to inside. Like I said, it sucks. It's a really, really tough job, but it's the only way. It's the only way through. You know, if your end goal is in self-improvement, that is. Wow, we really got deep for a Sunday morning there, guys. Sam will have to put a I don't know, maybe some disclaimer or warning even, or maybe just a heads up to get a nice full cup of tea to sit down and strap yourselves in. See, even this, like, I have these thoughts in my head and I tell myself exactly what I'm telling you now, but hearing those words and hearing, you know, what I'm trying to do, like myself hearing it, it's already like I can feel a weight off, you know, and it really is something that, and you know, I'm not gonna apologize for it, but it was who I was while I was in the military, and it was everyone's stance on, you know, when you're in the military. Like, emotions back then were seen as weakness, and all emotions did was get in the way of your job. So I became very, very good at blocking them out, but the problem was I just never revisited them. But my point to this is talking does help. I know that I used to sit there and think, when I'm really feeling down and, you know, can't pull myself out, the last thing I want to do is put this emotional load on someone else, you know? And I still used to think that if someone did that to me, my job was to fix it. But it's not. Your job is not to do anything. Your job is just to sit there and listen. It's just being there for someone to verbalize what they're going through. You don't have to come up with solutions. I always used to think, oh, I've got to try and fix it. Okay, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm a problem solver. That's my nature, my personality. Someone gives me an issue, I'll try and work it out and I'll fix it. But when it comes to emotions, this is why I just felt so out of place, because my go-to response of fixing something wasn't the answer, and it's not what people need in those moments, which is a very strange concept for me, you know. And that was why I would always think, why do I want to tell someone about this? They can't do anything about it. They can't help me in any way. This is my problem. I have to deal with it. But what I'm saying is, you're not telling them for them to come up with ways to help you. You're just telling them, and they're just going to listen to you, and you're going to feel better for verbalizing and vocalizing what you're feeling inside. It's a weird concept. I wouldn't have believed it if I heard it 2 years ago, but I'm telling you, the person I am now and the very limited time I've had to go down a personal improvement journey, that's all it is. It literally is just talking it out. Not even have to figure out any answers. I'm sure the person will probably come up with some very helpful techniques to help you deal with what you're dealing with, but don't look for that. That's not what it's about. You know, as you start talking it out, you'll work out your own issues, because you'll hear it, and you'll hear it from a different perspective instead of just thinking it. And it does hit differently when you verbalize it. So, if you are struggling, just call someone. Just call someone and start talking. Don't worry about how they're going to respond. Don't worry about what they're going to think of you. Just call someone, start talking, and I guarantee you, you'll feel better. And then the hard part is just to continue that talking, because it's easy to feel good in that moment afterwards, and you're like, yes, I feel on top of the world. It's like the clouds have disappeared and the sun's come out. But then you might wake up to a cloudy day tomorrow. So you got to keep going. Yeah, there's more to unpack. There's more to work out and get to the bottom of. But as you go along, I must say it does get a little bit easier. Still emotionally draining, and I'm not going to lie. I said it before. The job sucks, but you are so much better for it at the end, which I think in turn helps your overall disposition. The fact that you're working through these things, and this internal voice that you're blocking out and not listening to, you know, in hindsight now, I feel is why you have those unexplained moments of despair and, you know, sadness and all of those things, because internally you're not happy. There's things that are bothering you. This is just my experience. This is what I've been dealing with for the last 12 months since my brain's been able to stay focused on one topic and go over it and over it without getting distracted and forgot what I was thinking about. This is what I've found. I'm just sharing my experience with everyone. If, like I said, if 99% of you all think, oh my goodness, what a boring conversation this was, I don't care, so long as it helps someone. So long as someone takes something from this that helps them in their life. Because if we don't share our own stories and the way that we were able to work through things, then we don't grow as a society or as human race. Like we leave each other behind. If you leave everyone to discover it for themselves, it's a very slow progression, and a lot of people won't make it. So this is for those of you out there that were exactly like me, and you know, emotions were weakness and you had no time for them. They were just painful and no one can help you with them. Today's video is for you. Start listening to that inner voice. Start thinking about why that inner voice is saying that. What happened? What did you miss? Work on how it makes you feel. Acknowledge it, and start talking. Start talking to someone. It can be anyone. Go to a I don't know, a park or a bus stop and speak to a total stranger that's sitting there, you know, on a park bench by themselves. I'm sure they'll be stoked to have an interaction or a conversation with someone. What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? Who knows, you might make a friend. You might start to come down and hang out with that person on a regular basis. Life's out there. Go grab it. Don't give up on it. Righto guys, that's enough from me for today. Hopefully, everyone got something from this talk. Enjoy your day, smile, keep your chin up, and start talking. Righto guys, speak to you soon.